Hey guys, welcome back to the Cabral Salisbury Show. Last week we went over some political issues along with stories from the sports and gaming world. This week we're going to be following up on some of the topics from last week's episode, as well as talking about some new stories. Allow me to pass it off to Jay with our first story of the week. Take it away.
Hello, guys. To start us off today, we have more news regarding the Washington football team. Running back Darius Geis, who was supposed to be the starter for the team going into the season, was released from the team on August 7th due to an arrest on charges including assault and battery, destruction of property, and strangulation. This all happened just a couple days after hearing news that Geis had re-injured his knee. As some of you may know, Geis has missed substantial time on the field as injuries have not been kind to him. The team will look to Bryce Love, who was drafted out of Stanford a year ago, along with rookie Antonio Gibson and a 35-year-old veteran Adrian Peterson to replace Geis. Sal, your opinion on Geis's actions?
Well, I do think it was the right thing for guys to get released, and justice must be served for the victims who suffered. And now, a few days before we shot this episode, I actually did see a statement from the Washington head coach, Ron Rivera. I'm sure you've seen that.
Of course.
He did say that the team takes the allegations very, very seriously. He also said, anytime you have to release a young, talented football player, it is always a tough decision. But this type of circumstance, this type of situation, we take those allegations very, very seriously. And we had to make the decision going forward. I do hope, again, that justice is served for the people that suffered from his actions. And I hope things go into place.
Yep, and I agree with what you said there, Sal, and I agree with Ron Rivera's statement. So it's out with Geis, and it's in with Love, Gibson, and Peterson as the new plan of attack for the Washington football team. Speaking of new things, Sal, I believe you have something new you'd like to share with us.
Yes, Halo Infinite, the most anticipated game for the Xbox Series X coming later this year. The Halo demo was recently released, and most fans are disappointed about the graphics alone. The company, 343 Industries, actually responded to the criticisms of the demo, saying they still have a lot of work to do. However, they did delay the game to 2021, which is a good thing, because we all want a polished experience, a game that works, a game that looks beautiful, and I'm sure it's going to look good. But from what we saw in that demo, it was disappointing and did not show off the power of the Xbox Series X that they're desperately trying to push out there to try to beat PlayStation this upcoming season. And with this show, I don't think that's going to happen. I think PlayStation is going to take it this year. Jay, your comment?
Yes, so hearing about this, it actually reminded me of hashtag Fix Madden Franchise, which we talked about in the last episode. In a similar fashion, fans got a response from a member of the group of people that gave us the game. Although the situations are very different, one thing for sure is similar, and that is the fans are being heard, and therefore there will be more work done to fix the game to please fans. Dan Chosik, Narrative Experience Director for 343 Industries, tweeted a response to a fan of Halo. To summarize, he says he can relate as he's been one of those fans who was disappointed with how a game turned out initially, and tells fans that they have been heard. And lastly, he mentions how he wants to honor the legacy that Bungie pioneered. With the delay of the game, I do hope fans get the kind of Halo game that they have been waiting for, and I do hope the game utilizes the power of the Xbox One Series X.
And with that, I agree. But as one deadline gets delayed, another has recently closed, and that is the NFL players' decision to opt out of the 2020 season. Jay, I'm sure you're excited to give us more on that story.
Yes, with the deadline expiring on August 6th for players to decide if they want to opt out of playing in the 2020 season due to COVID concerns, we now have a full list of NFL players we will not see take the field this season. This list consists of about 65 to 70 players, 17 of them being starters for their respective teams, mostly on offensive and defensive lines. Out of those players, the Patriots have a league high 8 players who have opted out. With rumors in the last few months of the Patriots planning to tank for Trevor Lawrence in next year's draft, with the lack of aggressiveness and going for talent in free agency, with letting go of star players who weren't too expensive to re-sign, waiting to sign Cam Newton after every other team in the league had basically figured out their plans for their quarterback next season, had now 8 players opting out. Some believe that these are all random occurrences. Even friends and family have said to me, "Oh, it's just all random." I don't buy it. Okay, I don't buy it, and I'll tell you why. I think I think we all know Bill Belichick and how he thinks and works.
Hmm.
The Patriots organization under Bill Belichick is one of the least random organizations out there. Bill
Hmm.
Belichick is one of the least random minds in sports, you could argue. With that, I say, and even others have said, including Colin Coward, who Sal, you know I watch and listen to a lot, guys
Hmm.
like him have said that all of this has been Bill's plan to position the team to get a quarterback in the draft next year. And with only 3 or 4 teams needing a quarterback, and with all the draft capital the Patriots have next season, and all these quote-unquote random occurrences under Bill Belichick and the Patriots, I think it's doable. I think Bill has a chance of actually pulling this off. Sal, your take.
Well, I do think the NFL should be taking this extremely seriously, and I will keep looking into this to see if things fall into the right places for Bill Belichick. He's one of the most brilliant minds in sports entertainment, and I know he has something up his sleeve. Like you said, he's the least random in sports, and he always has a plan. He always gets out of it, and we'll have to see what comes of this in the future.
Yes, as long as he or the Patriots aren't pinned with anything. I mean, we don't want another deflate gate or anything like
That's
that.
right.
So, well, while we see players opting out, we're also seeing gamers opt out due to scummy business practices. Sal, do you have more on this?
Yes, I do. Now, we did mention the story a little bit on the last week's episode. Capital Games negotiating with cheaters. Now, if this were sports, that would be frowned upon immediately, and the news would probably sweep on Twitter through the nation. And we see here Capital Games is negotiating with cheaters yet again who have multiple offenses, and that's unacceptable. A YouTuber named Cubs Fan Han actually mentioned this, trying to get the message out there, and the message has apparently still not gotten to the developers. Players are leaving the game even with new content being released, and it's absolutely, I'm going to say it again, absolutely unacceptable. We see like this type of behavior from a company giving cheaters what they want, basically giving in. The cheaters are allowed to pick how long they are banned, and I just don't know what the future of this company is looking like. Jay, you have a comment on that?
Yes, once again, we are hearing more about and even seeing the messages of Capital Games negotiating with these cheaters or banning them just for a couple weeks only to allow them right back in. And in some cases, we have these repeat offenders who cheat in ways that I would say are very concerning or very serious. Capital Games, and this is the irony here, folks, Capital Games has released multiple statements claiming they have a zero tolerance policy for cheaters and any kind of cheating, and yet they have shown us and their fans who play the game by the rules that this is simply not the case. It's really infuriating, and I understand why people are leaving the game regardless of the new content being released, because these cheaters are making the game lack the fun and excitement that it was intended for. It's really a shame to me that Capital Games, they see these more expensive accounts of these cheaters, and it seems to me that's all they care about. You know, all they care about is the money, and in my opinion, that's just unacceptable. As a company, any kind of company that distributes products to consumers, yes, money should be on their minds, but consumer happiness, I mean, that should be right up there too, if not more important than the money. Not to mention that I do believe letting cheaters back in undermines the integrity of this Star Wars game, and that's all I really have to say on that.
And yes, this is a big IP that this company has, Star Wars. This is one of the biggest franchises that we've ever seen. Of course, along with, Marvel, DC, but Star Wars is pretty big. And when players who hop on the game, they grind it out for a few months, they get with their teams, or they get the characters that they want. If they get beat by a cheater, that's demoralizing, and that's gonna, make you not want to play the game. And we'll have to see what comes of this in the future. Again, this is totally mind-blowing to see that Capital Games is still doing this. Despite the player base leaving and complaining about this actively, especially the bigger guys. But while Capital Games continues to make questionable decisions, So do the Seattle Seahawks. Jay, do you care to elaborate on that?
Yes. So as many of you may already know, the Seattle Seahawks recently traded for star safety Jamal Adams. Now, the team gave up 2021 and 2022 first round picks, along with a 2021 third round pick and safety Bradley McDougald. Now, the Seahawks, along with Adams, also received a 2022 fourth round pick. However, my take on this trade is that it was merely an attempt to add a star to their defense to distract fans from the bad offensive and defensive lines the team has. Now, it's like this, oh, guys, look, we got star safety Jamal Adams, one of the best safeties in the league. Oh, don't look over there behind the curtain. Don't look at the bad offensive and defensive lines we have. No. Jamal Adams, people. And unfortunately, I do believe that the team desperately needs help on the offensive and defensive lines, and I do believe giving up 2 first-round picks and a third-round pick I believe that those picks were very crucial in getting that help. Now, the Seahawks and Coach Pete Carroll traditionally have drafted poorly, but now I believe that they have buried themselves a deeper hole by giving away picks of high value. Now, the team that they currently have in place is not a team that'll get Russell Wilson. And Sal, you have heard me talk a lot about Russell Wilson.
Oh, yeah.
And you know how he's one of my favorite players.
Oh, yes.
I believe the team's goals should be to get Wilson to another Super Bowl. Russell Wilson is easily one of the top quarterbacks in the league, given his stats and achievements. For instance, winning a Super Bowl in just his second season as a starter in the NFL. He is only one of 6 quarterbacks to do this. He also, in the last 3 seasons, with Tyler Lockett, a slot receiver, and a bunch of nothing around him, has thrown more touchdowns than any other quarterback. He's thrown 100 touchdowns. The second place quarterback in that category threw 85 touchdowns. That was Tom Brady, the GOAT.
The GOAT himself.
Tom Brady. Also, no one in their first 8 seasons have won more games than Tom Brady and Russell Wilson. We haven't even mentioned Wilson's on-field ability. The way he does more with less, and the way he extends plays is absolutely remarkable, and he is a remarkable player. He is undervalued, underappreciated, and we have seen this countless times with not having a say in the team's decisions on who they pick up, who they draft, sign, whatever. The pay cuts he's been asked to take, and the fact that the organization has yet to address the issues on the offensive and defensive lines to get Wilson and this team to a Super Bowl. And I just want to add this in real quick. This offseason, Wilson has shown incredible devotion to the team's success, although one could argue he's protecting himself. And what I mean by this is Russell Wilson this offseason has changed his workout routine and diet plan so that he can slim down and be a faster runner on the field. Now, this is probably because he knows, as we all know, he'll be running for his life with the offensive line he currently has protecting him. Now, Sal, your thoughts on Wilson or the state of the team after the Adams trade?
Well, I do agree. Wilson is incredibly underappreciated and underrated player. He has tons of potential to make another Super Bowl and actually win, but he cannot carry a team. He's a great player. I've seen some of his stats, but with the offense he's working with, I'm not seeing it, And like you said, he can't carry a full team, and I'm sure you'll add that in as a comment right after. But as good as he is, the team that he's on, I'm not seeing it. But he has a lot of potential.
You're right, Sal. I will add a comment about that, though.
Of course.
Look, as I've said to you many, many times, one man cannot carry a 53-man roster to a Super Bowl, let alone win a Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
All right, and we've seen this countless times before. We saw this with Calvin Johnson, aka Megatron, with the Detroit Lions. And also Barry Sanders, Hall of Fame running back, also played for the Detroit Lions. Now, Johnson retired just a few years ago, and Barry Sanders retired back in, I want to say it was 98. Both players being in the primes of their careers stuck on a team that wasn't going to go far, wasn't going to go anywhere, wasn't going to go to a Super Bowl. And they gave so much of their time and their bodies to the sport, and they retired very early. Wilson, I don't see him retiring early. However, I do believe that if the team does not change their ways, that Wilson might not get another Super Bowl win. He might get to another Super Bowl. He might. That team is not terrible, but they are in a very competitive division, and with the bad offensive lines, the bad defensive line, I don't see them winning a Super Bowl anytime soon. So I do hope they address this. While the Seahawks' plan for the future is unclear in drafting talent, Dr. Disrespect seems to have figured out his plan. Tell us more about this, Sal.
Oh, yes. So last week we did mention Dr. Disrespect getting banned and how that story swept throughout the gaming community. But it seems he's back, and he's streaming on YouTube, and he's back and better than ever. He did upload a video stating the state of his career, and he's back, and he's going to be back for a while, it seems. He's continuing to grow his audience, and it's good to see. We do not know why he's banned still, and Twitch, please release it. We just want to know. Stop staying in the shadows about it. Just tell us. Just be honest. And I'm glad to see him back. And I know you're not a big fan of him, but I hope that you can agree that it's good to see him supporting his family again and doing what he loves. Your comment?
Yes. As you said, I'm not a big fan of him, and that's more based on the fact that I just haven't watched much of his content yet. I am looking to have more time to do so. I have heard a lot about him, especially from you, Sal. And yes, I am glad to hear that Dr. Disrespect is back, supporting his family, like you said. But yes, he has found a way back to doing what he loves. It is unfortunate, however, that we still do not have an answer, or at least a clear answer, as to what happened, as to why he was banned from Twitch. I will say it does seem that it does not bother him as much anymore, as he is now streaming on YouTube. Lastly, I just want to say I can't wait to see where he and his content goes from here.
That is perfect. That was the last story for the day, folks, unfortunately. Please stay safe and healthy. Leave a like on the video. Please hit that subscribe button to see our future content that I know you guys are going to love. And I do want to mention a new series is coming up on this channel called Madden Gamer or Clueless J Plays. And we'll have to say, man, I had a blast editing the first episode. Because he is a pure Madden gamer, and you should see how clueless he is on other games.
Yes, guys. Watch as I make a complete mockery of myself while being outside of my comfort zone, playing games that in most cases I probably didn't know even existed until about 10 minutes before shooting. And guys, I am not saying this just to say this. I am purely a Madden player, and a little bit of 2K, but 2KWG to be specific there. But yeah, in a lot of these videos, I will probably be most likely playing a game I legitimately did not know existed. So I was like, hey, how do you play this game? So guys, please do check it out.
Oh yeah, you guys are definitely going to love it, trust me. Sometimes when you see him play, you're going to question if he has thumbs or not. Like, it's hilarious.
This is true. Yes, I can back this up. That is very true.
Alright, well, thank you for watching, everyone. We will see you in the next episode, and please check out Clueless J Episode 1, and take care.
Have a good one.